very good.
Yeah.
Hi, David. Thank you for coming again today.
Thank you.
Before we get started, I'd like to reassure that this conversation will be totally confidential, and with the only exception that my professor and classmates will watch the video to just help me grow as a new counselor. Do you have any questions about this?
No, that sounds good.
Thank you. Great.
Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, last week during our first session, you mentioned that you've been feeling a little bit anxious about not being able to connect very well with people around you. Do you mind telling me a little bit more about the situation?
Yeah, so I think mostly that comes from, so a year ago my kids moved out, the last one went to college, and so now it's just me and my wife again. It's been a long time since that was the case, and so we, so I mean, we both work and then we get back home and we'll eat dinner, but we don't really have anything to discuss, and then I'll do some work around the house or we'll put a movie in and just kind of sit, but we don't really know what to talk about anymore. Like we don't really know. It's been a long time since it was just the two of us, so still not really sure how to engage with her, and she'll try to take charge, take lead, and so I just kind of back off because I don't know how to engage with that. But anyways,
so it sounds like there's a big change in your family structure recently, and it's kind of impacting you and your wife and your family roles and everything, and it's kind of hard to adapt to it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. I think there's just I don't know what to say or do, and so when I don't know what to say or do, I just get nervous about that and just kind of walk away. So, but yeah.
Well, it sounds very hard to adapt to it, and it sounds like you must feel a little bit lonely, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely feel lonely. I mean, my wife's there, and I care about her, but I don't really know where to go with that. So there's times I wish that we knew that better.
Well, thank you for sharing that current situation with me. So right now I want to maybe bring our attention back to the old times when you were still a child. Could you describe a little bit about your childhood family situation?
Yeah, so growing up, it was my dad and my stepmom, and there were 5 of us kids. So I had one older brother, one older sister, and then one younger brother, one younger sister. And so there was always a lot going on in the house. The older ones, as we were getting older, were working or involved in sports and out and about. And so and then my younger ones just required a lot of the attention and the focus of the parents. And so there'd be times I'd get in trouble and need that kind of focus there. So a lot of times I just did my own thing and just kind of took care of myself, made sure I was getting where I needed to be, and all that,
So please correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you have a pretty big family growing up. You have 4 siblings, including you 5 children at home, and you're the middle children. You're the middle child.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, you pretty much do things by yourself. Is that right?
Yeah. So a lot of times my older brother and sister, they would go out, be around. They were kind of close in age, so they were pretty good friends. And then my younger siblings were a good deal younger, so they required a lot of the attention of my parents. So a lot of times, I'd walk to school, be at school, walk back from school and do chores, or I'd go work in my dad's shop and just kind of get stuff done there for him, but we never really worked together. I just knew what I needed to get done, so I'd get it done and just kind of made my own way and until it was time to move out of the house. So
Okay, I see. So it sounds like you've done a lot of things by yourself, although despite it's a big family.
Yeah, there was a lot of people around all the time, but I never really knew where to connect or had a lot of people to engage with, but there are people around, but I didn't know how to do that well.
Yeah, I see. So how would you describe your feelings growing up as the middle child?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times there's just the focus was elsewhere, and so I didn't feel like I necessarily got a lot of the focus, kind of overshadowed by the other things going on in the house or with my brothers and sisters, which was fine, but I think there was a lot of times that this kind of anxious feeling would again kind of rise up, and kind of take charge because I didn't know where to go. So once again, I just disengage and be, I guess, a little insecure about that because I didn't know who to take things about my life to. So, but yeah, so a little bit of anxiety, probably some insecurity when I was younger about that. But yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So I guess I'm hearing that you growing up as the middle child kind of feel lonely, not as much secured, and maybe kind of lack of attention in the family as well.
Yeah, I definitely think that was the case. And, you know, there's justifications in there for people, but just kind of the way that it all came out, the way the cookie crumbled was, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So I guess my next question is, have you tried to make a connection between your previous childhood family experience with your current family situation?
No, I mean, right since we've been talking, I've kind of seen the similarity in the anxiety there. I think when I had kids in the house, my son and my daughter, I was able to devote a lot of time to them, and so that I haven't felt this in a long time. So I think now that we're talking about it, there's some reminiscent feelings of just the anxiety associated with connecting and noticing when I don't feel like I can't connect, I just kind of disengage. But
so you kind of really want to connect and have a close family. But maybe due to your previous childhood experience that you kind of have this insecurity regarding how family should be.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's definitely a possibility.
So thank you for sharing that. And since we're talking about your current family situation again, I'd like to talk about your other part of your identity, which is you also work for the society, right? So what's your job right now? Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, so I work, I'm a manager in a warehouse, so I take care of all the shipping and fulfilling of orders, and so I make sure that all the people in the warehouse are doing their jobs. And then I answer to a lot of people in the main office setting, and so I'm kind of a shift manager, and then there's people over me who dictate. So right now it's been a little contentious because I think that I'm newer into this management position, so I think my bosses are seeing a lot of things that I'm not doing well and pointing that out consistently. But then the people that I'm managing also are pointing out things that I'm not doing well, and so I think I'm in the middle of this tension of underperforming and don't really know how to make everyone happy. And so because I don't know how to make everyone happy or to succeed there, I kind of do the same thing of I just disengage, or I feel anxious in how to connect with them outside of just getting the job done. So
it sounds like you also have some sort of anxiety issue going on with your workplace as well.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. It's a new role, so kind of a new atmosphere. Trying to learn, but it's pretty difficult with a lot of different people thinking a lot of different things, and I'm kind of caught in between. But
because this is the type of the job that requires management, coordination, and interaction with a lot of people.
Yeah, both ways. People who manage me and people I'm managing. So kind of the gatekeeper there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So would you describe this job to be the one that you've always dreamed to work on?
No, definitely not. I really love working with my hands. I love building things, crafting things. I used to do a lot of carpentry work when I was younger. That's what my dad's company was. But then when I got out of the house, kind of distanced myself from that. And so then just got into labor work, working in warehouses, shipping. So I'd love to, I think that would be great to get back to building things and making things one day, but that doesn't necessarily support people that I need to support financially. So I think this job's kind of where I need to be set for a long time, unfortunately. But
so I think if I'm hearing you correctly, you mentioned that this job really gives you the financial support that probably means a lot to you. So I guess how would you describe your criteria that matters to you when you're looking for a job?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, making sure my kids are taken care of and they're going through college, so I want to make sure that they're set. So what I necessarily want isn't the important thing. What they need, making sure our family is sustained. So, and that's great. Like if I need to work hard, but go into a job that makes me feel a little anxious or makes me feel unsure, then I'll do that for sure. So I think criteria number one is making sure that my family's taken care of. And then outside of that, just put my head down and get it done, whether it's good or bad. So, yeah.
Well, that's very, very, very nice because you want to be a caring person and you want to take a responsibility within your family.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. So thank you, David, today for sharing all these thoughts and emotions with me. And hopefully next time during our session, we can take a deeper look of those thoughts and emotions, and maybe we can work out a possible plan for you.
Okay. That's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.